Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Quincy Hensel. I'm the CEO of the Portland Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I want to thank you for joining us today for Kegs and Issues. I wish we could be gathering together in person, but alas, until it's safe to do so, we are going to continue to gather virtually. Now, the virtual aspect should not stand in the way of you enjoying a happy hour libation here at Kegs and Issues while listening to today's presentation. So please grab your favorite local beer, cocktail, or like me, my standard glass of wine, and enjoy the event. We have an amazing presentation today focused on the outlook for Maine's outdoor economy. Now, I feel like our future has always been bright when it came to building and growing our outdoor economy, but this year has been like no other in terms of interest in outdoor sports and adventure. As we all continue to navigate our way through the pandemic and figure out what we can do safely in these really long days of COVID. Tonight, you're going to hear from a pretty spectacular panel. We have joining us tonight, Jenny Kordick, Executive Director of Maine Outdoor Brands, Charlie Bruder, Vice President of Merchandising at LL Bean, Jeff Homer, Vice President at Shawnee Peak, and Adam Shepard, Executive Director of Rippleffect. But before we get on to today's presentation, I do want to take a moment to thank our generous sponsors of this program. Even in its virtual format, we have had the great privilege of maintaining our loyal sponsors and supporters who make this event possible. Our presenting sponsors of Kegs and Issues are Baker Newman Noyes, cPort Credit Union, Consolidated Communications, and tonight's featured sponsor is WEX. Our cooperating sponsors are Moody's Collision Center, Mindful Employer, Maine Mortgage Solutions. Our reception sponsors are Portland Beer Hub, the Maine Brew Bus, Vacation Land Distributors, and Rivalries. And I'd also like to recognize all of our craft brewery, distillery, and winery members. Without them and their support and engagement, this event would not be what it is today. Our media partners are Townsquare Media, Maine Magazine, WCSH News Center Maine, and MaineBiz. And as always, I want to thank our Portland Regional Chamber special community partners, who are Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Spectrum Healthcare, the University of Southern Maine Community College, and MEMIC. I will say that we are desperately missing our friends at Aura. I'm hoping that in 2021, we might be able to gather back together in person on stage at Aura with the crew there that makes each of these events run seamlessly. We hope to see you all soon. So again, a huge thank you to everyone and every organization who makes this event possible. So before we get to the keynote presenters this evening, I would like to welcome tonight's featured presenting sponsor, WEX. Joining us from WEX is Director of Strategy, Laura Shen. Laura is going to join us and say a few words, and then she is going to kick off tonight's panel. So Laura, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Quincy, and thank you to the Chamber for hosting tonight's event. As Quincy mentioned, I'm Laura Shen. I'm Director of Strategy at WEX. I grew up in New England and I'm super passionate about today's topic. Outside of the office, you can usually find me exploring the waters or mountains of Maine. A little bit about WEX as today's presenting sponsor. WEX is a business-to-business payments provider with industry-leading technology and scale. In our 30 years, WEX has grown beyond our original niche as a fleet card provider to a diversified corporation with 3 additional lines of business, including health, powering health savings accounts, travel, enabling payments for some of the world's largest online travel agencies, and corporate payments, driving accounts payable automation and white labeling WEX's processing capabilities to large corporates and financial institutions. WEX was founded and remains headquartered in Maine with over 5,000 employees worldwide and over 1,300 of those based in the greater Portland area. We're a company that's very proud of our Maine roots and the sense of place that many of our employees experience here. And that makes us very excited to be the sponsor of this event on the outdoor economy. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing tonight's moderator, Jenny Kordick. Jenny is the Executive Director of Maine Outdoor Brands. Maine Outdoor Brands, or MOB, was founded in 2017 and unites business leaders and entrepreneurs in raising awareness of Maine's outdoor recreation economy and strengthens Maine's outdoor product and service companies through knowledge sharing, collaborative marketing and commercial efforts, and access to professional resources. Jenny took over the helm in 2019 as executive director and brings with her over a decade of experience helping companies and organizations grow the outdoor recreation economy and ensure that more people have the chance to access and enjoy the outdoors. In addition to all of her accomplishments, I'm very lucky to call Jenny a friend and classmate in MDF's Leadership Maine program. So as I turn things over, I'd like to raise a toast. I think this is my Cow Island Rising Tide beard, which I know Adam can give more of a plug on. This past year hasn't been easy. But as I look to these distinguished panelists and the organizations they represent, I'm impressed with their grit, resilience, and exciting visions for the outdoor economy in Maine. So with no further ado, I'll kick it over to Jenny.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. And looking forward to going on an outdoor adventure with you, hopefully soon. So yeah, thank you again to the Chamber and to WEX for that nice introduction. I'm just going to share my screen here and pull up a little background. I wanted to just start off by sharing a little bit more about Maine Outdoor Brands and about the significance of the outdoor recreation economy to Maine. And again, we have a great lineup of panelists to talk a little bit more about kind of what we've seen through the pandemic and winter, especially. I was hoping that this presentation was going to be good luck for us to get snow. And so I was really excited to wake up this morning to see snow. And I'm hoping that we're going to get more of that this winter. But just a little background on Maine Outdoor Brands. So we are an alliance of the product, service, and retail companies in the state of Maine. These are some of our members just from the Portland area alone. And I'm definitely missing people on here. So please go check out our website, MaineOutdoorBrands.com, to see the full lineup. We have a really strong and growing outdoor industry in Maine. This includes companies that are making outdoor gear and equipment that's used here in Maine, that's used around the country, that's used around the world. We have a number of guides and outfitters in the state that are, directly getting people outdoors. We have a really big contingent of outdoor focused nonprofits that are taking care of our land and water and helping connect more people to the outdoors. So a really strong and growing outdoor industry. And this is where you might want to especially grab your beer, because I'm going to talk a little bit about, get into economic data for a little bit, but just to give an overview, so 4.2% of Maine's economy is from outdoor recreation. That is double the national average, and that is number 5 in the country in terms of the top states. So if you think about what's our competitive advantage in Maine, what makes us stand out, it really is the outdoors. Our outdoor recreation economy is growing faster than the national outdoor recreation economy. It's growing faster than the state of Maine's economy as a whole. And as such, we are creating jobs here in the state in the outdoor industry. 4.7% of all jobs in the state of Maine are from the outdoor industry. That's more than 40,000 total. You see the photo here, that's down in Biddeford, Hyperlight Mountain Gear, folks making backpacks. We have our friend Zach Inkers over here from Portland Paddle, an example of a guide and great trip leading organization. We hope to see continued growth and jobs created in the outdoor space in Maine. And if we break it down by activity, these numbers are all from 2019, but boating and fishing is kind of by far the number one economic driver in terms of the contribution it makes to Maine's economy. Hunting, shooting, and trapping is up there. RVing is huge. Snow activities are really big, and rounding out the top 5 is that kind of climbing and camping category. And again, those numbers were all from 2019. It'll be really interesting to get 2020 numbers, because as Quincy and Laura alluded to, we've seen a huge surge in outdoor participation during the pandemic. I think with less people having to commute into work and travel, we've had more time to perhaps go for a hike or go for a bike ride or a paddle. Being outdoors, of course, is one of the safest ways to spend time with friends and family. And as such, we've just seen a huge surge of people getting outdoors. Some just anecdotes and participation data that we've seen, Maine State Parks had more than 3 million visitors this year for the first time ever. Camping was up 8%, and this is also with a number of days where they had to be closed because of the pandemic. So we've still seen an increase. Maine Trail Finder is one of our members. They have a great database of where to go hiking around the state. Web traffic for them increased 121% this year. And our friends at Maine Island Trail Association shared that visits to Jewel and Little Chebeague Islands in Casco Bay saw a 57% increase over the previous 5-year average. So we know that a lot of people were getting outdoors. Hopefully all of you listening have been able to spend more time outdoors this year. And the numbers, this is a kind of a national stat, but I think we've certainly seen it in Maine at the beginning of the pandemic, right, where people were spending their time and money. Outdoor activities was the number one response in terms of hobbies. And I just want to kind of close out this intro here by perhaps stating the obvious, but the outdoor recreation industry, the outdoor economy is really dependent on outdoor places and places to go recreate. So lands, waters, we have amazing outdoor assets in the state of Maine, and it's important for our industry, but it's also important for the entire state's economy and for many of the businesses listening today. So there's been numerous studies and research that has shown the importance of the outdoors for attracting talent, retaining talent. We know investing in the outdoors helps meet sustainability goals. We know it helps create healthy communities, and of course drives innovation and economic growth. So even if you are not kind of in the core outdoor industry in Maine, think of yourselves as part of the outdoor economy and do your part to support the outdoors, to get involved. This really is something that is so important to the state of Maine. And one of the things that we're going to be launching next week, so stay tuned for, is a campaign with the Maine Office of Outdoor Recreation called Look Out for Me, Look Out for Maine. It's all about being safe and responsible outdoors, enjoying the outdoors, and ensuring that the amazing outdoor places we have are going to be here for tomorrow. So look into that. And again, thanks for having us. I'm going to at this point bring on our panel. So we have a really great cross section of the industry in Charlie with L. Bean representing the retail side and the manufacturing side. We have Adam from Rippleffect representing the guiding side and nonprofit side, and then Jeff with Shawnee Peak, of course, with the ski industry, which we're in the thick of right now. So I'm just going to have all of you start by introducing yourselves. I'd love to just hear what you do for your organization or company, and maybe a little snapshot of kind of how you're doing right now. Obviously, it's been a really trying year for many of us as we've navigated closures and restrictions, and then this huge surge in outdoor participation. And so sharing kind of where you're at right now, but also how the past year has been, what that journey has been like. And let's start with Charlie.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Jenny. So I'll start with a little bit about me. I head up merchandising for a few categories here at LL Bean. I like to consider them the fun ones: hunting, fishing, sporting equipment, travel, and home goods. And I will do my best to boil a really unprecedented and action-packed year into about 5 minutes. I'll start by just acknowledging and recognizing that it was a challenging year for so many people, both personally and professionally. But at the same time, it was a fascinating year in the outdoor industry. And I have a genuine appreciation for LL Bean in this period of time, just based on the overall commitment to both employees and community. And that really came through just at the start of the pandemic with a focus on safety and business health. And so the first thing that we did is, about March 13th, actually, we started working from home. And that was a really hard decision, and the entire home office workforce in Freeport kind of picked up and moved into a virtual environment. And that meant trying to redefine how we build product and go to market and do it without the advantages of being able to touch a physical sample. And the team did a great job making that pivot. At the same time, we also kind of closed all of our stores, by the middle point of March as well, just to really respect that public safety piece, and kept them closed until June for the most part, until we felt really comfortable, both from a local regulation standpoint and from a safety standpoint, that we could reopen and do it in the right way. We also pivoted from a manufacturing standpoint and started to produce PPE. We had never done that before, but recognized the gap and began to actually produce face masks at a rapid rate, about 10,000 a day. And we were able to actually get those into the hands of Maine health workers to help support the frontline people who are battling the pandemic. And then, lastly, we were also really making good decisions around the core health of the business. And one of the big things we did there was actually an $80 million receipt reduction. And so we looked at everything that we had coming in, and we just kind of brought the level down because we had no idea how customers would respond in the midst of this pandemic. And I'll say it's a good thing we did. The demand came, but not in the way we thought it would. We saw customer behavior change in a really meaningful way. And it was cool. We have such a broad assortment at LL Bean that we could actually see how people were, kind of what they were doing in real time based on the products that they were buying. And in March and April, it was very much about being comfortable in your home. And so, people were stocking up on things like sweatshirts and cozy pants and blankets and throws and Wicked Good slippers. The Wicked Good slippers, unbelievable. Since March, we've actually been selling about one Wicked Good slipper every 7 seconds. An absolute explosion there. And then, as people got comfortable in their homes, they started to get a little stir crazy. And in May through August, people started getting outside, and it started in the backyard. And so we started seeing people, kind of really buy into outdoor furniture and games and family archery sets, those really accessible things that you can do right out your back door. And then that quickly pivoted into adventures that were beyond the backyard. So bikes and kayaks and tents and active apparel, those things that you need to really kind of get out and get after it, but do so in a socially distanced way. We really started seeing people, start to respond to those things with unprecedented levels of growth in those categories. And that continued really through the entire year. And in September through December, it was about staying outside and doing it as the temperatures started to drop. And so, we saw a real fast and early run on things like snowshoes and sleds. Just as an example, like those were up 400% in the month of October. Amazing, amazing growth. People learned, based on the short supply that they saw in kayaks and outdoor furniture, things like that in the spring, they planned ahead and they got after those items early. So, I think one of the most important learnings that I'm taking away from this unbelievably stressful and challenging year is that more people than ever are experiencing the restorative power of being outside. And that is core to who we are at LL Bean, and just, I think an incredibly important silver lining to come out of this difficult time.
Awesome. Thanks, Charlie. So I'll kick it to Adam next.
There we go. Hi, folks, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk today and to see so many people in attendance. Some of the findings that we've had here at Rippleffect kind of dovetail with what Charlie has just outlaid as well. But I'm just a little introduction, I guess. My name is Adam Shepard. I get to be the executive director of Rippleffect. We are a 4-season wilderness and adventure education program based here in Portland, Maine, and on our Cow Island campus out in Casco Bay. And just for those of you who may not be as familiar with us, we work with around 5,000 people every year through our youth, adult, and family programs. We run day and overnight camps, expeditions, work with school partnerships. We run guide training programs, skill development programs, private guiding, and work with companies like WEX and all different great Maine companies and running leadership and team building programs. COVID, like every other company and organization, has had a dramatic impact on us this year. While we are a nonprofit, 100% of our overhead, our operating overhead, is supported by our fee-based programs every year. Any donations or grants that we receive, 100 pennies on the dollar, goes to youth for scholarships to our programs or to support low to no cost programs for our school partners as well. So when the lockdown happened and the closing of schools became a reality in the spring, starting in March and looking through the end of August, we knew we were not going to be able to run our program in a way that we felt comfortable with or that we felt was responsible. That immediate realization meant a loss of between $750,000 to $800,000 literally almost overnight. And that is 80% of our annual revenue. So, and with not knowing what the rest of the, what the fall was going to look like, what is the winter going to look like, those type of things. So we had a decision point to consider for ourselves. Do we close down the island, furlough staff, and contract and wait this out until we can get out from underneath of it? Or do we innovate and pivot and do what we can, access PPP, those type of things? And we chose the latter. And I can speak for the 6 full-time team, and I think the board and our community, that we're incredibly grateful to have the support of a broad community to help us pivot. When we did so, we were put in a position to essentially create new programs overnight, which was exciting. I'll use that as the word, but also daunting. So we created 4 guidelines for anything that we would create over the year to help steward us through that process. 1, we wanted to make sure that we were providing programs to as closed of cohorts as possible. 2, we wanted to provide programs that met or exceeded state and industry guidelines for COVID mitigation. 3, to generate revenue to keep intact our core team, the full-time staff. And then 4, to stay relevant to our community. We exist to serve our community. We want to make sure that it was still being true to who we are. Through that lens, we came up with 4 new business models for the organization. The first was, in the summer, we ran family camps and guided experiences for nuclear families, overnight camping, sea kayak experiences, rope course experiences out on Cow Island. And then in the fall, we saw a great opportunity with the hybrid programs or the hybrid school openings to run a middle school program called Adventure Academy, and then a high school program called High School Roll, where we would have students on their non-in-person school days, where we would support learning, remote learning in the morning, and then do our adventure program in the afternoon. For a couple cohorts. That was so successful, both from a revenue standpoint and a programmatic standpoint. It gave us the confidence to offer winter programming. And actually, you may hear them in the background. They're just coming back from their expeditions right now, where we're doing alpine mountaineering, ice climbing, winter skills with them. And they're still getting that academic work on hot spots on the side of a trail where they're having to zoom into their classrooms. The 4th piece that we've been able to leverage is also the expertise of our staff to do private guiding, alpine mountaineering, ice climbing clinics. We're taking people up Mount Washington this winter. All of this is in the same spirit of adventure that we've always had, but very new. And what this pivot has resulted in for us, 1, from our fiscal year wraps up at the end of March. And while we did secure a PPP loan, these programs really unexpectedly have, aside from the loan, have helped to balance our budget for the year. You can knock me over with a feather if somebody had told me that back in April or May. Two, it's positioned us to weather 2021. It's still going to be a tough year for us. We're not going to be able to open fully in 2021, but we have the confidence to keep stepping through that. And then the third thing, and perhaps most importantly, it's helped us remain relevant and front in mind to our community. If we had closed down, we would not have been able to continue to build the goodwill with our community that we've been able to do. So we feel really well poised to move forward.
Great, thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
I need to get one of those hotspots so I can work as I'm out hiking or something.
Yeah.
So I'll kick it to Jeff next, and wondering if you can also give us a bit of a snow report over at Shawnee Peak today.
Yeah, we have about 3 inches right now, and I'm looking out the window. It's snowing out, so it's pretty good over here.
Nice.
No, thank you, everybody. It's nice to meet you, and thank you for having me. I guess I'll give you a quick background on the ski area. It's been owned by my family since 1994, which is 27 years. And as you can imagine, over 27 years, we've seen a lot of good, a lot of bad, and didn't expect anything like that, but here it is. We're one of the few family-owned ski areas left in New England. Most of them are corporately owned or non-profit, which is, awesome and scary to be one of the few left. But I think that being family-owned is a benefit because it allows us to think long-term. It allows us to make investments every year. And, my dad and I are very hands-on, so we can make adjustments and process it on the fly. And we're very lucky to have a great team working with us. The mountain is a fairly integrated operation, meaning we do lift tickets, ski school, rental, food and beverage, lodging, etc. We also have night skiing, and as some of you might know, we're the largest night skiing operation in New England and one of the largest in the country, which is pretty cool. Our season is from early to mid-December to the end of March, so early April, give or take. And we have basically 100% snow-making coverage, which has been great this winter. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but we got 2 inches of rain on Christmas Day, which is not so exciting. Our customer base is primarily from Maine and Massachusetts, and then known as the day trip area, but a lot of second homeowners are really utilizing the first season aspect of Maine. So we've seen a lot of benefit from that. And we have a great group of season pass holders, which continues to grow. And we have historically done a great job with the school and recreation program and middle school and high school racing. Regarding what's going on right now as it impacts us, this is something that we've been thinking about since the day we closed. How do we keep our employees safe? How do we keep our guests safe, but provide the best skiing experience? Unfortunately, we're a ski area, we're not open in the summertime. So we are able to learn from businesses that were open in the summertime, as well as the ski areas in South America and Colorado and Utah, whatever, that were open in October and November, and take best practices. We also worked with the governor's office and the National Ski Areas Association and Ski Maine with other ski areas to come up with best practices and protocols. In terms of how we're doing this year, I think it's too early to tell, to be honest with you. We've only been open for 6 weeks. And, we've certainly seen a lot of demand from individuals and families who are benefiting from the lack of having to go to school and going to work. And, unfortunately, some kids don't have winter sports right now. So people have the free time, they want to get outside, they want to recreate. And we have different ticket products that are priced appropriately for certain days of the week. So we feel that we've been able to offer something for everyone. Being open until 8 p.m., 9 p.m. every night has been great because, a lot of people don't want to go out to dinner anymore. So, nice skiing to new date night. It's been kind of interesting to see that trend, as well as, people realizing that they're not comfortable traveling yet, they're not comfortable doing a weekend trip, but they can come skiing here because you can have dinner and breakfast in your own house and come here and ski for 6 hours, which you can't do at any other places. On the flip side, the negatives that are going on right now is, we have to contend with Mother Nature every year. This year has been particularly challenging. It's nice to see snow today, but as you all know, there's not much snow in the backyard. And obviously, Massachusetts is a very big part of our business, which we don't really have this year because of the guidelines. And the school group business, which is also a great piece of our business, is basically non-existent this year because kids aren't in school or they can't take a bus here. But we're doing the best we can, and I think overwhelmingly our customers are very excited that we're open and that we can provide an escape from the ground or sitting in front of your computer or iPhone, whatever. So.
Great, thanks, Jeff. So I have a few questions that I'll ask, and I know that the chat is open as well. So if folks listening have questions, feel free to add them there, and we'll work on feeding them to some of the panelists. But I'll start. We wanted to really focus on kind of the outlook and the forward-looking nature of the industry in this conversation. So I'm going to ask all of you to get out your crystal ball and try to tell us what you think is going to happen. But I'll start with Charlie. You spoke about a range of different trends and that LL Bean has seen. Do you all expect this to continue? How are you kind of forecasting things going forward?
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. I'll actually start with kind of a personal story that's going to seem tangential and not relevant, but I'll promise that it'll become relevant. I decided to come into the office today, even though, we're technically closed, to make sure I had the bandwidth to have this conversation. I didn't want to be fighting other Zoom calls and video games and things like that are, I think, happening in all of our houses at one point in time. And on my way out the door, I actually grabbed my Wicked Good slippers. And so I haven't fact checked this, but I think I might be the very first Kegs and Issue participant to be wearing a pair of Wicked Goods. And my feet appreciate that. But I think this pandemic is actually, for many of us, redefining our expectation of comfort. And so that's a trend that I think we're absolutely going to see continue. And we're starting to see it already. We actually just in this month of January launched a brand new collection, an athleisure collection. And it kind of blends performance, comfort, and style together. And it has been absolutely blowing out. I highly recommend you check it out and buy it now because it's not going to be here long. But I think we're going to start to see that. Like there's going to be in those items that you wear out of your home, a stronger demand for comfort. And then in addition, I think what we are seeing, and what Jeff and Adam spoke to a little bit as well, is more people are participating in the outdoors. So more people, more participation. And I think of that as, kind of spending time in the outdoors as a flywheel. If you haven't done it before, it can be incredibly intimidating. But you get out there and you realize it's not that hard. And, sometimes you get some help or you figure it out on your own. And the next time it's that much easier. And you're feeling the benefits of being outside, both the mental and physical benefits. And so, what I think we'll start to see is more people wanting to spend more time outside and explore new outdoor pursuits. So we're absolutely thinking that that's a trend that will continue forward. and benefit a lot of the products in our line and just the outdoor industry and Maine's outdoor economy specifically.
Great. And Adam, you had mentioned that, the 2021 is still going to be a tough year for you all, and planning is hard, obviously. How are you thinking about that going forward as you start to look ahead to your spring and summer programming?
Yeah, we are looking at it right now as a rolling enrollment for our core programming, which is our summer camps and expeditions. We are still going to be subject to, with our youth programs in particular, kids are not going to be vaccinated starting in June as in large cohorts. So we still have to keep in mind the safety and the security of the programs that we run. So we're going to be operating probably around 35% of what we normally do for those programs. And work really hard to run those as efficiently as we can. Now, that being said, what we are able to pull out of this past year is, and again, I think it's probably similar to what has already been said here as well, is we see a whole new group of people that are coming to us for experiences. And so families that are wanting to have family experiences, and the parents are wanting to do some of these experiences with one another, so that yes, they want to have that experience with their kids, but they want to learn the base skills so that they can go out and start to do that independently. And an example that we can use that is relevant right now is this past weekend, we had a family of 5 that went out ice climbing with one another, age ranging from 50 all the way down to 10. Never in my wildest dreams would I think that we had a family that would want to go out and with sharp things in their hands and sharp things on their feet and scramble up ice, right? But that is an experience as an organization and an industry for us to recognize is we are building this industry one family at a time and one person at a time that hadn't been part of our client base. So I'm really buoyed by that. And these are things that we are going to continue doing. There's threads of what we innovated in 2020 that we're going to continue to do in 2021.
Great. And Jeff, are you seeing similar changes in customer base perhaps? And are there some things, even though you recognizing you all are early in the season, that you found are changes you've made that are working, or that you anticipate sticking with going forward?
Yeah, I think everything that we've done so far, I think we're going to keep it, with the exception of taking down the plexiglass, and people don't have to ski with face masks anymore. No, but like you said, it's too early to tell. All the improvements that we've made, from technology to increase seating for food and beverage, they've all been very positive. And I think that, again, for me personally, it's too early because we have to get back to a incident rhythm of their life that it's going to look like, kids going back to school, adults going back to the workforce, and how is that going to impact everybody? I don't know, but I think that Maine can really benefit from this trend because Maine is the way life should be. There's not many places in the country where you have true first season recreation and a great city in Portland and all these supporting towns. So I think long term it's going to be really beneficial for Maine itself. And I think obviously we'll all benefit from that to some degree, but I can't predict anything today.
Yep, got it. So I actually have my copy of Maine magazine where Rippleffect is on the cover, ice climbing. So I wanted to ask all of you, just with this as we're here in winter, if you have any recommendations for of what people, should perhaps try for the first time this winter, or places to go and see. Really, this is a time to embrace winter and embrace the outdoors. And I'll start with Charlie.
Great. Yeah, we have an experiential and outdoor programming team that does a phenomenal job finding ways of creating access and kind of breaking down some of those barriers. And they've done an equally phenomenal job just pivoting and making sure that we're adhering to all CDC guidelines and being able to do it in a way that keeps people safe. And so I would say it starts with our outdoor discovery programming. That's an institution that we've had for a very long time. And people can go out and with confidence, learn a new activity. Snowshoeing. You can do a 2-hour snowshoeing session, with a fantastic guide for just $30. A really, really incredible way to kind of get out and get introduced to a sport. And that builds all the way. We have, kind of 3-day northern excursions to the northern parts of Maine, where you're doing everything from, cross-country skiing and snowshoeing to, ice fishing and, staying in beautiful lakeside cabins. And so, there really is a variety for multiple different skill levels and comfort levels. In addition, we've also this year partnered with the National Wildlife Foundation to kind of bring the green hour and the mantra of trying to get kids outside for at least an hour a day. And so, that's another way that we're looking to get kind of people outside. And then lastly, we've kind of initiated a campaign or a winter across Maine. And that's really focused on low cost or no cost ways to get families outside. And it may be something like, skating at Pineland or Thompson's Point, sledding at Bradbury. But all of those activities and information can be found on llbean.com. We have a llbean outside tab that you can click on the top right. And it's all listed out there. And I think, just fantastic ways to kind of, keep the kids outside or keep yourself outside, as the weather turns cold.
Awesome. Yeah, we had some great ice skating opportunities before the snow came. The ponds were all really great. I got out a couple times. Adam, what do you have? Oh, you're on mute, Adam.
Oh gosh, you think I would know that by now? Yeah, I think there are these things are seemingly more accessible than ever before, and as Charlie was saying, llbean does a great job of getting folks outdoors and having accessibility. There are other guide services that have those introductory experiences as well. And also look in your local community. There are up in Millinocket, the library has, if you have a library card, you can go check out cross-country skis. I live in South Portland, and they just bought a bunch of ice skates and snowshoes that if you're a resident, you can go and check them out for free for kids. And so there are those resources there locally to get out, and an outdoor experience doesn't have to be, a full day of ice climbing or an Mount Washington ascent. It can really just be strapping on snowshoes for the first time and going in your and supporting your local land trust. And I agree with Jeff. We're in an amazing state. I'm not from Maine, but I married a Mainer, so they let me across the border. But it is just the most incredible place to have all these things right out your back door. Look at your local partners, call them up and say, hey, I want to do this with my family, or I'm not sure what to do. You'll find no shortage of people giving you directions of where to go. Cheers
to that. Yeah. And Jeff, what about you? If somebody wanted to get into skiing this winter, what all do you offer at Shawnee Peak?
Yeah, so we I think we've got a great ski school program and a great rental shop with modern equipment. So if you have first time, we can get you outside, we can get you on the hill, we can get you comfortable. And I think we've seen a lot of that. It's one thing that people are trying something new for the first time, and they're building their confidence, they're coming back. And obviously I would tell everybody to come here. Don't go to Sugarloaf, it's too far. You're not gonna have a good time. But no, to be serious, just get outside, go skiing, go snowshoeing, and as Charlie said, the Winter Crossing partnership. We're part of that. We are doing a $25 ticket for night skiing on Friday night, and it's been very, very popular. It's been selling out every week, which is great.
That's awesome. I love the idea of the date night ski. That's great. So one rapid fire question. All of you all are obviously big outdoor people and get outside a lot. What's the one piece of winter gear that you can't live without? And maybe we already know this if it's Charlie's Wicked Good slippers, but Charlie, do you have anything else?
Yeah, in terms of actually being outside, I can't do one. I'm sorry, but I would say the two that I like never leave home without for an outdoor excursion are my LL Bean Crystal wool base layers, which are phenomenal, and then our Wicked hand warmers and toe warmers. Those are just those will keep you in the right spot as the temperature drops.
Awesome. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I got two real quick. My mid-weight fleece, which was designed it's LL Bean, but designed with Seth Westcott. I would love for it to be brought back. It has the thumb loops. Mine is, I've had it, top of Rainier. I've had it, North Bay, all over the place. Anyway, would love to see that one come back, but that's a staple and that I wear in the winter. And then also, for climbing and that type of thing, my Hyperlight 3400. Those two.
Nice. What about you, Jeff?
I guess I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and give you my being down jacket. I live in down jackets. They're pretty reliable. They keep you warm. You can wear a t-shirt. You can wear fleece underneath it, and it's a good thing to have in Maine.
Awesome. So we have one audience question with just silver lining of so many people enjoying outdoor activities this year. How do we retain them? How are you thinking about that as business leaders? How about Jeff? You want to start?
How do we retain them? I think that it starts by understanding them, understanding why they're here, what they're here for, and that's customer acquisition. We don't want to get too much data, but we want to make sure that we understand the customer, where they're coming from, what made them come here. But more importantly, for us at a ski mountain, it's making sure everybody has a smile on their face. Without people smiling and having a good time, none of this is possible. And, we have cold days, warm days. Just trying to make sure everybody's happy, and if you show them a good time, to come back.
Yep, awesome. What about you, Charlie? How are you guys thinking about retention?
Yeah, I think it builds off of what Jeff was saying. It starts with a great first experience. I think, if you have the right gear, if you have the right guide, if you have the right way to get outside, you're going to experience those fantastic physical and mental benefits, of the great outdoors. And so, I think it starts there. And I think, honestly, the outside is our number one, kind of activation for that next time. I think you're gonna get a little bit of it. You're gonna want some more of it. For us, it's about how do we continue to, kind of bring products to market that break down those barriers, that really make sure that, that people are able to have that really good first experience. And then also by partnering with all these, fantastic organizations to make sure it's accessible and that people know how to get outside. And so, those are some of the things that we're focused on.
Great. Yeah. And what about you, Adam?
Yeah, one of the things that we have really intentionally put in is a what's next follow-up. And this isn't trying to sell them on another program or to try and pull them back in, but it's more from a lens of saying, hey, you had this experience and you should think about starting to do some of these things on your own. And if you need a little bit more, here are other places and spaces that you can go and to gain more knowledge. Our hope is that we can just develop that trust with them that, yeah, it may be with Rippleffect that they do something else. If not, that's okay. If they move on to another organization, we really look at this as, you know, the rising tide lifting all boats. And if we can get more people engaged and active in this industry, it's going to benefit us in the long run because it's going to benefit everybody else that's in this space.
Awesome. So we have a specific question for you, Adam. Can you tell us more about Cow Island and the beer?
Yeah, well, the Cow Island beer, that was full transparency. Since I took over executive directorship, I have always been very jealous of the Maine Island Trail beer. And when they started this island series at Rising Tide, I got in touch with Heather over there and said, hey, what do you think about a milk stout, Cow Island milk stout? We'll tie it in and everything. And she jumped all over it. She'd been wanting to brew a milk stout for a long, long time. And it kind of gave her the push to do it. So they jumped on it, and it was supposed to just be a special batch. And I believe they've put it into the regular rotation now. So yeah, out of everything I've done in my career, that's the thing I'm probably most proud of. So
there you go. And I'm glad we made that outdoors and beer connection right there. Yeah. So we'll end it. We had on another question that's kind of forward-looking that someone submitted, asking about the panelists' thoughts on what the outdoor industry in Maine could look like in 10 years. What do you see on the horizon, and what are you optimistic about? Let's see, Charlie, you want to start?
Yeah. And I'll actually go back to your introduction to start, Jenny, because I think you did a great job just talking about the progress that we've made and how important the outdoor industry is to Maine today. And so, you know, when I think about this, you know, we have more people who are coming out and experiencing the outdoors, which is absolutely fantastic. We are a winter wonderland. We are an outdoor wonderland in Maine, regardless of the season. And, you know, we have a booming outdoor economy. It's a great place for both work and play. And, you know, what we're experiencing right now is millions of people across the US getting introduced to the outdoors in a more meaningful way. And then add on top of that, the fact that there are travel restrictions right now that are impacting tourism. And so, you know, as I think about coming out of this, I think we have an opportunity to really embrace, celebrate, and market Maine as an outdoor destination for those who want to work and play in just a beautiful Mecca. And so if I'm thinking about that and fast forwarding, you know, 10 years, you know, I think we have the opportunity to be, you know, the kind of premier state for outdoor minded people.
Awesome. Jeff, what do you think?
I think I probably would agree with most of what was just said. I think that, you know, we have a great opportunity to continue this momentum that we have. And I think people are realizing that you don't have to be on your computer, your phone all day long. Get outside. It doesn't take that long to go for a hike, go for a run, come skiing, go ice skating, whatever, go sailing. And I think another thing that keeps us unique is we've done a good job of protecting our natural resources. You know, we're not overbuilt. Everything's accessible, and for the most part, I think everything's done tastefully. So I think that, you know, we provide a unique experience that's not as commercial or overrun like you might see in some other locations. And obviously, I think the population trend in Maine, more and more people realizing that they can live and work here. It's pretty affordable. You know, it has everything they're looking for. I think that's long term going to be a great benefit to everybody.
Hear, hear. Yeah, agree. And it's amazing too, just you point out, right? You can go skiing and sailing and hiking. Like there's so many things to do here. And that's just to our advantage. Adam, what are your parting thoughts? What is the outdoor industry going to look like in 10 years?
Well, I think it depends. I think there's incredible opportunity. I mean, it is most certainly an industry of growth moving forward. I think it's only as limited as the state of Maine's ability to either attract or cultivate the next generation of outdoor industry leaders. I think if there's real investment in cultivating folks up through and educating folks that this is an industry that has viable career paths, and people bring innovation and energy. I think who knows what the next 10 years is going to look like for it. But I think it really starts there with the people who are, protecting the lands and creating the new, the new gear and creating new ways to gain access. And so I'm hopeful we see that energy with folks in this industry to keep cultivating that next generation of leaders in the industry.
Awesome. Yeah, cheers to that. And at Maine Outdoor Brands, we're a relatively new organization. We were just formed in 2017, but have been thinking about all of that, right? What are the career pathways? What does workforce development look like for the outdoor industry? What does entrepreneurship look like? And it's been great to work with partners in the state, with the University of Maine. There's just a lot of potential there. So can't wait to see where we go. And again, like I said before, everybody in Maine is connected to the outdoor industry. So look forward to staying connected with folks and seeing what we can all do and enjoying the outdoors, of course, along the way. So I think we're going to wrap on that, and I'll kick it back to Quincy, but just want to thank our panel and cheers to you all and to everybody joining today.
Jenny, that was awesome. Clearly, I found some gear while you guys were talking. I know Charlie was heralding the fact that he's the first person to do kegs with wicked good slippers. I may not be the first person to do kegs with a hat, but it's definitely my first event with any kind of hat on my head. So proud to wear the Bean brand, proud to be an influencer for any of your brands if you want to send me some gear. Adam, I should have a ton of Rippleffect stuff. I served on Rippleffect's board for years, so we'll have to correct that. But this was such an incredible presentation. Charlie, Adam, Jeff, Jenny, fantastic stories that you were telling. And I think, Jeff said it, I think we all know how lucky we are to live in a place like Maine, where we can all do our professional jobs, and yet we have this incredible access to the outdoors. And I think that's just been elevated during COVID. And we've had the ability to be able to be outside, the restorative power of the outdoors, and to be able to be with friends, socially distanced outside, snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, downhill skiing. And I think it's been like a secret to our survival over the last few months. So thank you all for all that you do for our community, for our state. Thank you for the role you've all played helping us all get through this really challenging time of the last 12 months. I know we're not out of the woods yet, and I hope that everybody who tuned in, I'm sure we have a lot of outdoor enthusiasts anyway, but maybe some people will decide to get out there and try something different while we're still sort of locked down dealing with the pandemic. So again, I want to thank you all. Laura, I want to thank you and WEX for your support and your sponsorship of this event. Everybody get outside, enjoy the great outdoors. We will see you back here in April, and I am hoping that we can all be in person soon at a Kegs and Issues. Thanks, everybody.